TK Vandy Roofing and General Contracting is a fifth-generation contracting company based right here out of Bay County. TK Vandy's expertise in commercial and residential roofing, as well as a design, build general contractor, set them aside as a versatile and fresh alternative to achieve your construction needs. Contact TK Vandy Roofing, 850-866-9908, or email support@tkvandy.com. They can't wait to help you.
Hey guys, Mother's Day is coming up on May 11th, but Beach House Florist lets you hit the easy button now for major wow factor. Mom will light up when she sees a thoughtful and unique gift from Beach House Florist, like lovely floral arrangements and gift baskets curated with gourmet delights. Beach House Florist in Panama City Beach, minutes from 38. Show Mom some love with Beach House Florist. Order at beachhouseflorist.com or call now, 850-249-5042. That's 850-249-5042.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Mothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. Get ready. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
Live and local.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
This thing is going to be a financial and cultural disaster.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
Whopper, 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 whopper.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise! Keep making noise! Yeah!
And good afternoon, Northwest Florida. This is the Afternoon Underdogs, coming to you live from the CBC Construction Studio. And CBC Construction right now is hiring, so if you are looking to build that career, if you're looking to build that resume, give CBC Construction a call or head on over to their website, and you can go ahead and fill out your application right there and turn it into them. You can give us a call or a text here at the Afternoon Underdogs, 850-215-6290. And our call and text line is sponsored by the Jed Lawyers. If you need them, call them, or you can just visit their website, jedwins.com. I am James Fife. With me today, we have Paul Wilson. How you doing, Paul?
Good. How you doing, James?
Doing great. Caveman Rick in with us as well. Caveman on this Wednesday. How's your day, Caveman?
Yo, can't complain. It's great. Nice weather out there. Glad to be here with you guys.
Is it like it's like a Dayton Dragons hat, or what is it?
What's that? My hat?
Yes.
No, Philadelphia Eagles. P-E. Got the P, got the E, got the wing. So
I'm kind of seeing the E now being kind of made out of the eagle flying wing. I'm getting it now. At first, the Dayton Dragons had kind of a D that was green with the dragon head going out of the middle of it. So it kind of looked like that to me, but not really.
No, it's just something different. I found this hat on, I don't know if it was Lids or what was the other hat? Fanatics. I don't know which one it was, but I thought it looked different, something like, not kind of like typical, so that's why it kind of jumped out at me.
I kind of like it. It looks very baseball logo-y for a football team.
And
I like it.
On the back, I got just the eagle.
Yeah, the old school just fly eagle with the holding the football.
Kind of like baseball. Yeah,
I like it. Very baseball-y looking, because baseball loves putting in, initials and things like that. So, like the hat, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good hat. All right, guys. So, we are here on this Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody out there. And we got great news for tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow, join Ryan and Jay on the Inside Drive. Ryan and Jay are doing their second year of the Inside Drive starting tomorrow. Amazing. 2 years already for those guys.
It's crazy. It's only been 2 years.
Just crazy. But be sure to be listening because they will be giving away a Golf Plus t-shirt and some Golf Plus gear. They will be doing that at around 12:40. So be sure to be listening and be sure to be calling 850-215-6290 to win the gear from Golf Plus and from ESPN Northwest Florida. And this is Braves country here at ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3, 101.9 in Port St. Joe. Braves on currently. We are in the 8th inning, top of the 8th. Rockies have the lead. First time in the series that the Rockies have the lead. It is 2-1 right now, top of the 8th. It looks like Michael Harris up to the plate right now and cuts at a nice high fastball. Had no business swinging at that, but I find those nice high fastballs like that so pretty.
They are.
So pretty.
Coming 100 miles an hour, it's a little different. It looks like a big beach ball, but then it's already past you by the time.
Because it's right there, and it's like the closer to your eyes like that, it's like, oh yeah, this is big, this is juicy, and then it looks like you're trying to swat a fly out of the sky. And
no chance of catching up to that one at all.
Oh, so Braves, come on.
Yeah, no doubt. Need Marcelo Zuna to give me a hit now for a little parlay I got going on. So cha-ching, so I can get paid.
Oh, did he get the hit today so far?
No, he needs one. He needs one. I already got Sale with the over on the on strikeouts, and then on who else did I have getting a hit in that game? Let me tell you here real quick, because I can't remember who I picked. Oh yeah, Nick Allen.
Yeah,
So,
good one to pick.
yeah,
He has been hot this season so far.
That's why I picked him. So he's already got a hit. So now if I get Ozuna to give me a hit, I can get a little payday.
Sounds good. All right, let us go over some Major League Baseball scores. We'll go over last night's scores first. Then we will move over into the games that are either currently being played or have wrapped up for the day. So last night, the Chicago Cubs put an absolutely hurting on the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh. That was a 9-0 victory for the Cubs. Carson Kelly, another 2-run home run. He is looking fire back there behind the plate. Was not expecting him. I was expecting him to be like a placeholder to get us through to somebody next year that might be a little bit better. But I'm thinking, let's watch this kid cook a little bit.
Playing for a contract now.
He's playing for a contract, and he's playing like he wants it. So, hey, let's keep on going with it. Royals taking on the Rays last night. Kansas City Royals 3, Tampa Bay 1, playing down in Tampa. Atlanta Braves did win last night over the Colorado Rockies. That was an 8-2 score. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Minnesota Twins taking on the Cleveland Guardians in Cleveland. Twins fall to the Guardians of a score of 1-2. New York Yankees take a drumming to the Orioles, and I mean they just drummed the Orioles in Baltimore 15-3. 3 home runs to start the game for the Yankees.
Second time they've done it this year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the first time is what broke out the torpedo bat conversation in that first game of the year.
Yeah, even though Judge had 2 home runs in that game and doesn't use a torpedo bat.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. That's, everybody thought it was him, and he would be the reason why. But, so.
Yeah, and have you noticed the conversation on torpedo bats? It's all kind of quiet now.
Away.
Everybody was fascinated with there for a second. Oh, man, it's great. Look at this. It's going to change baseball. We're a month in now, and
had a small sample size to begin with.
Yeah, guess what? They're bats. They're bats. They're exactly bats, just like the other bats.
A real slugger, though, the guys that can really mash the ball would be better off with that bat. Because you have a bigger area to hit the sweet spot, in the barrel of the bat. So you would think, the guys that really know how to mash would do better with a bat like that.
I would think so, especially guys that do barrel it up. It moves the sweet spot down the bat just a little bit. So if you're like, Ohtani says he's not going to use one because he's not practiced with it, and that makes total sense to me. If you're already mashing with a bat,
why change? Don't fix it.
And I was, like I said in the beginning of the year, I was worried about it actually kind of bringing some of these averages down because taking the ball off of the end of the bat, you don't have that flat surface extending out anymore. So you don't have as much control on the launch angle coming off of it. So I was thinking you were going to see a lot more of these like little bloopers getting hit down the line. Not really seeing too many of them coming off the torpedo bat. So looks like I was wrong with that theory.
Yeah, no biggie, though. Like you said, it's small sample size. It's been a little bit of time. See if they come back. Maybe come playoff time. You might see some people talking about it again. I guess it's all going to depend on, what kind of results you're getting.
Yeah.
If we see some more breakouts from these guys that are using them, hitting a lot of home runs, I think the trend will go back that way again.
Yeah, you'll see more of them.
A lot of copycats.
Something kind of crazy about last night with the Yankees. On April the 29th, they hit 3 home runs. And then I saw where the first time that they did it, it was on March the 29th. So the 29th. So every month. So come May 29th, we're going to
throw some money down on that.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your next parlay.
Yep.
Yeah, watch that one for May 29th, everybody. All right, rolling on. Nationals taking on the Phillies. This game takes place in Philadelphia. Nationals got 6 runs, but not enough to take down the Phillies, who collected 7 runs on the game. I do believe the Phillies won that in a walk-off, Rick?
Yeah, it was actually a walk-off, a wild pitch.
Oh,
and that's how Stott got in. He was leading pretty good. He usually does. Wild pitch. He came running down, third baseline, dove in head first, and, was able to tag home. So, good win. Nice, exciting way to win, too, at the end of the night. Because, we were winning, and then they ended up coming back in the 9th. And we were going to have to, obviously come back ourselves, and we did, and good for us.
Dang, win's a win, right?
Yeah.
Wins win. Red Sox taking on the Blue Jays in Toronto last night. Red Sox come away with the 10-2 win. Diamondbacks taking on the Mets. Diamondbacks 3, Mets 8. The Brewers taking on the White Sox. Brewers 7 runs, White Sox 2. White Sox are 7-22 on the season, but still in front of the Rockies. That's hard to believe, everybody.
Tough.
Hard to believe. The Athletics of No City are took on the Texas Rangers. Rangers just absolutely womp on the Athletics 15-2. Astros defeat the Tigers in Houston 6-4. Angels Mariners last night in Seattle. The win goes to the Mariners 5-3. Padres defeated the Giants 7-4 in San Diego. And the Marlins took on the Dodgers, and the Marlins just did not bother showing up. The Dodgers 15, the Marlins 2, and the Cardinals Reds was postponed due to inclement weather. That game will be made up today. So let's go over to today's scores real quick. We'll cover the games that have already wrapped up. Nobody has, got to get to the bottom of the page. Wraps up so far, the Cardinals on that makeup game, and this is the makeup game from yesterday. Cardinals defeated the Reds 6-0 in Cincinnati. The Tigers defeated the Astros 7-4 in Houston. Games currently ongoing. Marlins taking on the Dodgers in Los Angeles. Marlins 3, Dodgers 8, top of the 7th. Angels and Mariners in Seattle. We are in the top of the 4th. Angels 2 runs, Mariners 3. Giants, Padres, middle of the 4th inning, Giants 0, Padres 2, and the Atlanta Braves, we talked about it earlier, are now in the bottom of the 8th inning. Braves 1, Rockies 2. Rockies working on win number 5 of the year. But with the Rockies being 4-25, they join the other team that went 29 games and only collecting 4 wins, and that was the Louisville Colonels of 1899 in Major League Baseball.
Very good, very good.
So we're going for the way back machine to see how awful the Rockies are currently doing. And the Rockies aren't, like the Rays. The Rockies aren't like the Marlins. It's not like they're not spending. I mean, they're not the heaviest spenders out in the league, but they're not in the bottom 5 in spending. But do they just spend so badly? Because they're always at the bottom. The new ownership looks to spend money on guys, and they bring in guys like Chris Bryant. Yeah. They spend money on them. But what have they done the last 2 years other than nothing?
Spend money, waste money, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they don't have a clear vision on what they want for the team. I mean, if you're spending money and you're still, always on the bottom, I mean, there's got to be something there.
I just think they have a hard time retaining and or bringing in outside pitching just because of the ballpark they're in. It's a total hitter's park.
Yeah, nobody wants to play there.
And basically there's not a whole lot you can do with that park to turn it into a not hitter's park unless you're just going to tear down the walls and move them back another 30 feet.
So then you just need to build a team around guys that can mash the ball,
Yeah.
Forget pitching, and you have to be like a football team, kind of like how the Colts were with Peyton Manning when they won the Super Bowl. Like, they're going to score points. You have to worry about trying to outscore them. They're going to put up 35, 40 points. It's all about, can you put up 42 points? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you can get the right lineup, get a murder's row of a lineup that can hit the ball, like kind of like how the Phillies were last year, like the Dodgers, guys that can really, hit. Yankees, maybe, who else has got like a line that's pretty good? The Mets have got a few, I always said Dodgers and stuff, but that's what you need. If you can get a lineup like that, a bunch of guys that you can hit for like the long ball.
The pitching problem, what they need to do there is for pitching, they need to go out and pick up a bunch of sinker ballers. Just guys that throw in sinker balls get them low, make them get over the ball to hit it into the ground. And instead of growing your bluegrass at a regular height, grow more of like a sawgrass and make it tall. So that way when that ball hits that grass, it just slows to a grind and doesn't get out of the infield.
Yeah. That would probably work.
Just literally take away the infield batting is basically what you got to do. Just reduce the amount of hits in the stadium.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you can do. Home field advantage, right? What do you have available at your disposal that you can use and utilize to help your team out? Well, like I said, it's at altitude, right? Easier to hit home runs, small park. I say you just go all in on guys that can rake.
Yeah. Just launch it.
Yeah.
Launch it. Make them catch up to you.
And then just try to, win games like, 12-8, or something like that, in that fashion. And just, not worry about.
Score everybody.
Yeah, I mean, get pitchers, I guess, that, aren't so worried about their ERAs, and such, for career statistics, and just get guys that aren't afraid to get out there and throw and just want to get W's. Yeah, that's one thing they care about, maybe a ring, in the process.
Because, I mean, if you can I think you got to bring in the batters first to convince pitchers to show up at a place like that.
Yeah, because you'll get the wins.
Because, you're going to get them the wins. You're not just going to throw them out there to have a high ERA with a whole bunch of losses.
I mean, if they know they're going to get run support, then there's something to that. I mean, if I was a pitcher, I knew I was getting run support. I mean, if I got the W's, I wouldn't really care so much about the ERA.
All right, let's move on into, we'll just go over our NBA playoff scores from last night. We'll dig deeper into playoffs later in the show, so we'll save comments for later, but we'll get the scores out to the people. First game last night, Milwaukee Bucks, Indiana Pacers. This game went to overtime, but the Pacers come back and are triumphant, 119 to 118. And if you look at the ESPN StatCast on winning chance, with 30 seconds left to go, Doc Rivers and the Bucks had a 92% chance of winning this game.
They gave up 7 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
In that 30 seconds.
Yep. It was another classic Doc Rivers collapse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what the Bucks are going to do next year because I don't think they bring back Doc.
Yeah. Well, you might not have Giannis back.
I don't think Giannis coming back either.
To quote Giannis, looks like they were playing with their food last night at the end of the game,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Giannis comes back next year.
I don't either.
I mean, because what for, really? I mean, everybody else is building the super teams. Why not go join somebody?
Well, he's already won there like we talked about yesterday, so he doesn't really owe the city or the franchise anything. He did his part, what he was asked to do. So if he wants to go, I mean, hey, more power to him. It's going to be kind of crazy thinking about where he might go because you were talking about super team kind of stuff. What was kind of crazy too was Halliburton's dad getting in his grill.
That was crazy.
And then the fact that Giannis actually kept his cool, especially after losing in that fashion, because I'm sure he was pretty emotional, right? He had to be pretty upset losing the game that way and getting bounced too. Not only just losing the game, but losing the series in that fashion, right?
Yeah.
And then you got Halliburton's dad, jabberjawing you in the face. I mean, if it was anybody else in the league, a lot of other dudes, that guy might have got stomped.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, he got lucky. I mean, maybe he took advantage knowing that it was Giannis, and he's a little bit like on the mundane side as far as, emotion-wise. And he actually held himself pretty good. The press conference afterwards, he was pretty concise, just saying he kind of is sick and tired of it, and I think he's right. I mean, basketball, people got a lot of access sitting very close to the floor, like on the bench and everything. There's no glass there. There's no boards there like in hockey where you're sitting right next to the bench, but there's a partition there. I mean, those people are sitting literally right on top of the players. And then when games are over, they're out there on the floor. I mean, even though he is a player's dad, he's out there mingling on the floor with everything else. They got to stop that kind of stuff. Because before too long, you're going to have another Malice at the Palace, man.
I got some stuff. We'll talk about that later. We'll get through some scores. But I got some thought processes on the whole fans and interaction thing there. Continuing on with the scores from last night, we had the Detroit Pistons taking on the New York Knicks in New York. Pistons come away with the 106-103 victory. That means the series is still going on. The Knicks are still up in the series 3-2. Clippers took on the Nuggets last night. Nuggets with the comeback 131-115. Denver now has the 3-2 series lead. And our Orlando Magic that you can hear right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida did not get the win over the Celtics. Celtics took the game pretty handedly in the second half, 120-89 for the Orlando Magic to be eliminated from championship contention. So great year for the Magic, I will say. Losing Suggs for most of the year didn't help, so they didn't have that point guard out there that could score. So hopefully they got something to build on, though. I'm really hoping so, because they got a bunch of young guys that I would like to see them build around. So maybe, we could have a great push for the Magic next year into the playoffs.
I mean, I think Banchero's a star. I think he could be someone that if you give him some help, get him a true point guard, or, get everybody back healthy, playing good like they were playing. I mean, I think he could very well carry a team with the right pieces around, maybe some, older players that have been there, that kind of thing, to kind of push them to the next level. Obviously, playing against the Celtics, that's a tough draw right out the gate. So I think he's got some things to build on there. But I think he's going to be a star. I think he's understanding the program, and he's able to really make a star out of himself down there.
Well, we are into the ninth inning now. Braves at the plate. 2-1 still in favor of the Rockies. Olsen to the plate, 0 for 2 on the day. Go over real quick the NHL scores from last night. The Ottawa Senators put a beating on the Toronto Maple Leafs, 4-2. Toronto and the Sens looked pretty good in the first period. Nice close game. Once the second period got there, the Sens got that early goal. They never looked back. Now a 3-2 series. I hope that one goes to 7. Devils Hurricanes last night was a double overtime exciting thriller. The Hurricanes did win the game 5-4, and that will send the Carolina Hurricanes packing back home. Will send the New Jersey Devils packing back home. Good season for the Devils. Young team that's on the build. So maybe something for them next year. But I got to say, last night, Markstrom, goaltender for the Devils, he carried that team. He might have given up 5 goals in that game, but you got to realize the man made you 49 saves that night. Yeah. That's a heavy, heavy workload. And in overtime, not 2 periods full, but full period and about 5 minutes into the second, they were outshot 28-3. And he still kept him in there. So Markstrom, my man, excellent work. Good luck to the Devils in the offseason. Moving on, the Golden Knights of Las Vegas playing in Las Vegas, taking on the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild win that game 3-2 in overtime. Vegas takes the lead in the series 3-2, but game number 6, which will be played tomorrow night, will be played in Minnesota. And the final game of the night for the NHL, we saw the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Los Angeles Kings. Kings had the lead in the second period, 1-0, but the Oilers overtook them in the second and then just poured it on in the third period for the 3-1 win. Kings just didn't look like they had it in the third. I don't know if they just ran out of gas for the day, or if Edmonton was just playing that hot. I didn't think Edmonton was that hot, but it was still a game in which the Kings just kind of fell flat for me. Edmonton in the lead on that series, 3-2. Game 6 tomorrow night in Edmonton. So Edmonton wins tomorrow. They will be advancing. I'm really hoping that does not happen. Gonna take a break. When we get back on the other side of this break, we will be talking with Benji Bomadelli from the Panama City News-Herald. You are tuned into the Inside Drive, sponsored by CBC Construction Studio.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. Turn to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the south, mostly sunshine and 80. Partly cloudy skies tonight, slightly colder at 69. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a gentle breeze right around 9 miles per hour with a high of 81. The same at 81 Friday, and we'll have slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
CBC Construction is looking for a few good men. At CBC Construction, our greatest strength lies within our talented team. Join us and be a part of a dynamic company that values its people. We offer a tremendous opportunity to create a future for your family and the Florida Panhandle. CBC Construction is now hiring. Call us at 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com to learn more. CBC Construction, be part of a winning team.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are tuned into the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, and we are coming to you live from the CBC Construction Studios. And if you are looking for a new job, give CBC a call. They are hiring right now, and you can call us here. You can text us. 850-215-6290, the Jed Lawyers phone and text line. Well, the Braves got the, they didn't get the final out. The Rockies got the final out on a pop fly to right field. The Braves do not get the sweep of the Rockies over the weekend, or over the opening part of the week. I keep thinking it's the weekend yesterday. I don't know. I was at work yesterday. Why do I think it's the weekend? It wasn't. But Braves lose 2-1 to the Rockies. So no sweep, but nice to win the series. On the line with us currently, we got Banji Bomadelli from the Panama City News-Herald, sports writer extraordinaire. Banji, how is your Wednesday?
My Wednesday is actually going pretty well. How is your Wednesday going?
I am having an excellent Wednesday, man. I am on the radio. I could not be happier.
I know that's right.
All right, Banji. So we had the NFL draft over the weekend. Any great feelings for you coming out of it?
Well, as a Falcons fan, I'm feeling very good because we finally solved our pass rushing problem, we hope, with taking Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. I would also say I'm really high right now on the Titans as well with Cam Ward. I think that was, that seemed like the best pick to me. Number one overall, Cam Ward. It seemed like the no-brainer. Everything that followed after kind of blew my mind, especially with the Shedeur Sanders falling that as far as he fell was kind of outlandish to me.
Yeah, it was. That was actually kind of my next question was, what are your thoughts on that free fall that we saw for Shedeur Sanders down that draft board?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things, like, I'm not a big fan of mock drafts because year after year we see that you can't plan an NFL draft. You can't predict it because there's trades and there's also anomalies like this that happened to Shedeur. But, everywhere had it projected that he's the number 2 overall quarterback in this draft. Yet we saw Dylan Gabriel, we saw Jackson Dart, we saw Jalen Milroe. We saw all these guys get chosen ahead of Shedeur, and these guys were like on the bottom end of the quarterback prospects. So it was just very concerning because, I love all the memes that have come out of this because it's really questioning like how bad or what happened during these interviews with these teams that made them decide like, no, we're not going to choose him. It might be a conspiracy. I don't know.
I got a conspiracy on this one for my tinfoil hat. So once Dion and Shedeur kind of saw that he wasn't going to be in the top 5, I kind of think they wanted to fall all the way off and get to being a free agent. So that way, he could go, one, where he wants, and two, instead of dealing with the pay structure that follows with the NFL draft, he can negotiate what he is actually going to get paid. So I actually almost think the Browns are trolling Sanders by picking him that late.
I can actually see that because them choosing Dylan Gabriel, then choosing Shedeur kind of really, to me, made no sense. So, You know what? I could actually believe that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was just crazy to me. It's like Dylan Gabriel, I'm like, I had to actually go look him up because I heard the name before, but I wasn't real familiar with who he was. And so I was like, okay, the Browns are done picking a quarterback for the draft because there's no way that late in the draft you're going to take another quarterback. Guess who was wrong? Me. That one was
I had no idea that, we're going to choose two quarterbacks in this draft when we already have Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and still just Deshaun Watson or whatever's left of Deshaun Watson on the roster.
Yeah, and you got two quarterbacks in that room with Super Bowl rings now too. So yeah.
Yeah, Benji, do you think that Shedeur might be the first one that they release, or do you think they're going to try to, let him see if he could come in there and actually take the job, or do you think he's pretty much just was either a trolling pick, or was he a guy that they really do believe in after taking Dylan Gabriel?
That's a very good question because I initially was thinking that Kenny Pickett was an odd man out on that roster, but with your conspiracy, which I'm slowly I'm like putting the dots together, like that is actually spot on. That's probably what happened. Yeah, I would say Shedeur is probably going to be the one to be cut because I feel like Gabriel was probably their actual decision at quarterback, and then Shedeur was just a troll. But we'll see because they have there'll be 5 quarterbacks on the roster, so yeah, they'll have to trim it, and yeah, I could see that Shedeur being the odd man out on the roster.
Because even with 5, when you're looking at it, you might want to, you could carry 4 quarterbacks. You could leave 3 on the roster, throw 1 on your practice squad. But with 5, that's going to leave you like with 2 quarterbacks on your practice squad. And what are you going to do with 2 quarterbacks on the practice squad? Like, do like what you did with Baker Mayfield and make him, be the defensive line of the other team for practice?
Yeah.
That one just made me go, huh? All right, guys. All right. Whatever you guys are thinking there in Cleveland, can't say I always make sense of your quarterback picks, Cleveland, or what you do with quarterbacks, but hey, you're an NFL team. Do what you need to do.
Wouldn't it be kind of crazy if Jerry Jones scoops him up right after they were to cut him with Cleveland and do his old player a favor there?
That was my exact thought, though, for the reason to totally fall out of the draft was so Jerry could come in and save the day. I really thought it was so that the Cowboys could come in, give him a 5, 6, 7-year contract at, $5 million a year or whatever to, make everybody happy.
Yeah, and I think with their pick going guard, they didn't really make any kind of big splashes. I think that could be something because Jerry likes to be in the news.
Oh, Jerry loves
he likes being in the news. So I think that could be a possibility that he could come in there and swoop him up as soon as he goes free agent.
Quite the possibility. All right, Banji, let's get into the local flair of sports. So right now we are in high school baseball regionals. What you got for us with that?
Yeah, so we have 2 local teams left in Arnold and Bozeman. So on Monday they began the best of 3 series, respectfully, in the semifinals. So Arnold, who was in Class 4A, they defeated Choctaw 1-0 on the Monday. But yesterday, I went over to that game, and it was kind of the opposite of Monday. The guys, Choctaw, were able to hit on Arnold consecutively on consecutive innings to the point where Coach Jones actually took out his starting pitcher in the second inning, put in another pitcher. He only lasted another inning, and then 3 innings. When you have 3 pitchers in one game and it's not even the 5th inning yet, it's not going good for you. Arnold actually ended up losing that game 7-4. So they'll play the 3rd game, the elimination game, on Thursday. Bozeman.
Oops, sorry. I was going to ask, any injuries to that we need to worry about for the game Thursday?
Oh, no injuries. Okay. I would say that an Arnold outfielder. He tried to make a diving catch, and I think it looked like he hurt his hamstring a little bit, but I think he's fine. He was able to get back into the game.
Okay, so none of the pitchers were injured. It was just we need to make a change.
Yes, none of the pitchers were injured.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you there. Continue on, my man.
So then Bozeman, they were in the state championship last year. They're actually also in the semifinals. They're playing against Bishop Snyder. They won on Monday 2-0. But yesterday, Bozeman were down 2-0 for majority of the game. Bishop Snyder added 2 more to make it 4-0. But then Bozeman, toward the end of the inning, like they've done all year, they started to claw it back, but ultimately fell 4-3. So they'll be also playing their elimination game on Thursday, but this time it will be at Bozeman. Arnold will be on the road.
Right on. And I also know that softball districts are going on right now. What you got for us in the world of softball?
So in softball, I'll start off with Class 2A because we have most of our local teams are there. We have North Bay Haven, Rutherford, and Bozeman. Yesterday, Walton defeated Rutherford 11-1 to move on against North Bay Haven, and Freeport defeated Pensacola Catholic to go on to face Bozeman. So that was actually on Monday. Yesterday, which was the semifinals, North Bay Haven faced off against Walton. North Bay Haven, who's the number 1 seed, defeated Walton 10-0, and Bozeman defeated Freeport 6-0. So the district championship will be tomorrow at the number 1 seed, which is North Bay Haven. It'll be North Bay Haven versus Bozeman for the district championship. The Lady Buccaneers will be looking for, I believe, it'll be their 8th consecutive district championship.
That is pretty good. That's not a school that's been there for too horribly long, so it sounds like they got some good winning ways going.
Yes, sir. And I would, there's also some other local teams. Arnold, they're actually going to be playing tonight. They defeated Choctaw 4-1 on Monday, so they'll be playing tonight their district championship at Fort Walton Beach. And Arnold, I mean, they're a team that they've been pretty good all season. If they win, they're automatically into the FHSAA state playoffs. Even if they do lose, I still believe they get in. They will be a lower seed, but I still believe they get into the state playoffs.
Very good. Always like seeing local teams making it into the big old spotlight. Any other great local sports news that you can give to us?
Well, besides, spring football practices, they've started this week on Monday. We were just over there at Rutherford. They have a bunch of new faces, and players, but also a bunch of new faces at the coaching positions. I mean, Coach Floyd is still the head coach over there, but offensive coordinator, Coach Matt Canas, he's over there being the OC. And then Javian Elliott, he released his book this past year, so from walk-on to the NFL. He's going to be their defensive coordinator. So a lot to be looking forward to. I'm definitely going to try to go to each school spring football practices and try to, do like a preview for all the football lovers out there.
Nice. So that would be quite interesting. I think everybody would appreciate it. And, of course, when you get that put together, let us know. And we'd love to have you on to give everybody the good news of football will be returning very soon because we all know this area, we do love some football.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Vanjie, we'll go back into the draft a little bit. So, Jalen Walker, you were already talking about him. Edge rusher from Georgia. The first time the Falcons have taken a guy from Georgia in I don't know how long. And Georgia just been good, been great. Why don't you think the Falcons have been taking advantage of, knocking on your neighbor's door?
Well, we're not. If you see, as a Falcons fan, as a lifelong Falcons fan, we've known that in the draft we don't exactly make the smartest decision because and I can say I was one of those who was hating on the Penix pick last year. I didn't really see the vision there. I even didn't like the B. John Robinson pick because at the time I was just like, why are we going running back when we have another multitude of issues? So. We're kind of hit and miss as a franchise as far as drafting because that Kyle Pitts pick right now, it's still not panning out. And it's been 3-4 years now. So I don't know why we don't go for more Georgia UGA guys. Philly clearly knows the secret formula. Howie Roseman is a genius for being the Philadelphia Bulldogs, as we all call them now. But yeah, it's something we need to look more into.
Yeah, I really figured last year in the first round for the Falcons, I was watching one for an offensive tackle or two looking for an edge rusher, figuring that would be the two biggest helps that you could give the Falcons at that point in time. And then I hear Michael Penix called, and I was like, all right. Well, but the Falcons made up for it this year. 2 first-round picks, both of them edge rushers. So they are going to be chasing Bryce Young around, it looks like.
Oh, not only Bryce Young. I mean, whatever. I don't know who the Saints are going to put out there at quarterback, because Derek Carr, I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not, or I don't know what decision they're going to make with him. But then also the Buccaneers, I mean, chasing around little Baker Mayfield, it's going to be an exciting time for the NFC South.
Oh, it should be a lot of great fun out there. Banji, any other thoughts for us before we get on out here and take a break?
All I would just say is, smile today. Not every day is promised, so smile and say something nice to somebody. That's my final thought.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for those final thoughts. Benji Bomadelli from the Panama City News-Herald greeting us on this Wednesday like he does on every Wednesday. You're tuned into this is not the Inside Drive. You are tuned into the Afternoon Underdogs, sponsored by CBC Construction, live from the CBC Construction Studios. We'll be right back right after this.
Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straight away center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the south, mostly sunshine and 80. Partly cloudy skies tonight, slightly colder at 69. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a gentle breeze right around 9 miles per hour with a high of 81. The same at 81 Friday, and we'll have slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover Kia at Bill Bird Kia. The road is yours. Let spring adventures begin in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Stop by today and check out the 2025 SUV family. Take a test drive and see the all-new features that elevate any adventure. And now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.PanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust at Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sportage. $1,748 per month per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. Not available on balloon financing. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 4/30/25.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. From the pros to the future pros, we're your home team station for home team sports. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon Underdogs on the airwaves. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe. Those are the airwaves. We also got an app. We got it in the Android store. We got it in the Apple store. ESPN Northwest Florida. Type it in. Download the app. And while you're there on the app, be sure to hit the Enter Contest button because we are giving away Golf Plus t-shirts and ESPN t-shirts. And big news for tomorrow. Ryan and Jay tomorrow will be having the 2nd anniversary of the Inside Drive. Yes, that is 2 years of Inside Drive. And be sure to be listening because they will be giving away a Golf Plus t-shirt and other Golf Plus gear at around 12:40 tomorrow. So be listening and be calling 850-215-6290. And that phone number is sponsored by the Jed Law Firm. And not only can you call that number, but you can also text that number to let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, or if you just got anything, you can just say hi. We'll say hi back. This is Braves Country here on ESPN Northwest Florida, and the Braves off tomorrow. Will be playing again Friday. It will be against the Dodgers, and the Braves are heading back home, so it's not a full West Coast swing they're getting out of. They were more like in the Rocky Mountains, being in Arizona and Colorado recently, but nice to see the Braves coming home. Hopefully, let's sweep the Dodgers. That would be fun.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be fun. So we'll have a little bit more of a Braves update. Last night, Braves came away with the 8-2 victory over the Colorado Rockies. Matt Olson had a season-high 3 hits on the day, and Michael Harris II drove in 3 runs for the Braves as they defeated the Colorado Rockies. I guess that's, 8 losses in a row at that point for the Rockies, and 1-16 of their last 17. Not been a pretty picture for the Rockies. Austin Riley, Nick Allen both had 2 RBIs last night. Eli White had a pair of extra base hits, a double and a triple. Good for him. Don't see many triples, but Coors Field is one of those parks because of the really far back fences that you got some good chances to see some triples happening in the ballpark. Who was the pitcher last night? Let's go to the box score. And the box score says pitching last night was A.J. Smith-Shawver. Made it 5.1 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, for 5 strikeouts. Braves came back with 3 relievers for the game. De Los Santos, 1.2 innings for 1 hit, 1 K. Montero, 1 inning for 1 K. And Blewett came in, 1 inning pitched, gave up 1 hit, but that run did not score, so no earned run given to Blewett in that 9th inning. Herman Marquez was the starting pitcher for the Rockies, 5.1 innings pitched, 11 hits, 7 earned runs, only collecting 1 strikeout in his adventure on the day. Marquez 0-for-5 on the season.
Tough.
He's a kid that I watched play in minor league baseball. Actually scouted him in minor league baseball, and great pitcher. Just having a kind of a tough year on a bad team. So being on a bad team usually doesn't give you good stats. That's just one of those things in sports. Usually good stats come with good teams.
Yeah.
So and let's move on into today. Rockies and Braves, like we told you just a couple of minutes ago when we were talking to Banji, that the Braves did not get the win this afternoon. The Rockies come away with the 2-1 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Braves had the lead in the 3rd inning, but then relinquished that lead in the 3rd inning as well. And the Rockies just hold on to it and get the win. Braves only coming away with 3 hits on the day. Albies, White, and Allen, the only guys getting hits for the Braves. Not a pretty day. No home runs for the Braves in this 3-game stand. Kind of weird for a park where you can kind of see home runs going out to that right field wall quickly. So we're seeing the bats get better for at least 2 games, because first game against the Rockies, everybody had a hit. Second game against the Rockies, the only person to not record a hit was Ozuna. And then today, apparently nobody wanted a hit. So not a pretty look for the Braves today, but hopefully they take the day off tomorrow, get home to Atlanta, relax for the day, come back, beat the Dodgers. Braves only using 2 pitchers on the day. Chris Sale came in, 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts on the afternoon. Johnson coming in for the relief, 1 inning pitched, 2 strikeouts. Only 114 pitches for the Braves that game, so not throwing a lot of pitches.
No.
That's a low pitch number for a team.
And if you look at it, that's like the most positive thing for them is for Chris Sale. I think that was his farthest he's went into a game this year. I think he went 7 innings. And so having that many strikeouts, I mean, he pitched well enough for them to win. The bats just were not backing him up today. So it's still, even though it's a loss and it's a loss to a pretty bad team, I think the Braves can use this to say, hey, we get our pitching going and then our bats start going. I think they can put some things together and still be, really good, not just good every once in a while or good like they, but actually having both parts of where they're pitching and hitting together. So.
Yes. And for the Braves, Chris Sale faced 25 batters, 21 first strikes for the game. Johnson faced 3 batters, 3 first strikes for the game. So the Braves are coming out and attacking. So that's going to be one of the reasons that you're going to see that lower pitch count is because they're coming out and they're not wasting those pitches. They're just
early.
coming straight right there. Boom. Boom, boom on the strikes. Like I said, Sabermetrics is telling batters, don't swing at that first pitch. But now a lot of managers are seeing that, and they're telling pitchers, just make sure it's over the plate on the first pitch. They're going to watch it. Get ahead in the count. So it's what you got to do, man. So Rockies, Dollander. Chris Dollander, nice name on that one. 5.2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. Jay Bird came in, 1.1 innings pitched, 2 Ks. Halverson comes in next, 1 inning pitched, 2 Ks. And Agnos finishes up the game for the Rockies, gets the save, 1 inning, 1 hit on the day. And pretty good numbers for the Rockies on first pitches. Bird, 3 out of 4. Dollander, 14 out of 22. Halverson, 3 out of 3. And Agnos, 3 out of 4. So you can kind of tell that's a getaway day game.
Yeah.
You're seeing a lot of first pitches there. And the Rockies, 132 pitches on the day. That's more normal that you'll see.
That's a
little bit normal than what you'll see. But the big discrepancy on the pitch count to strike count, the Braves had a pitch count 114, but a strike count of 81. So they're getting the ball over the plate. If you look at the Rockies, pitch count 132, but a strike count of 86. So the Rockies not being as efficient with their pitching as the Braves are. So I don't know if that's because the Braves are on a getaway day and got the day off tomorrow. I'm not sure if the Rockies play tomorrow or not, and that's why they were just going through the pitching. But anyway, tough loss for the Braves today, but the Braves do take the series 2-1 over the Rockies. So Braves coming back home. Like I said, Braves will be taking on the Dodgers. It will be a 3-game stand from Truist Park in Atlanta. Trying to find out if the Dodgers have announced a pitcher, and the Dodgers have announced a pitcher for Friday. It will be Yamamoto.
Ooh.
So that is that's a Cy Young caliber starting pitcher going for the Dodgers, and Grant Holmes will be the starting pitcher for the Braves. So it's a little bit lopsided on a pitching matchup if I'm going to look at that, because Yamamoto coming in right now with an ERA just a little bit over 1 at a 1.06. Grant Holmes coming into the game with an ERA at 4.5. So more of a human being stat there versus being a machine like Yamamoto there, just throwing out a 1 ERA. Also, Yamamoto a whip of a 1. That's crazy. He's only letting a guy get to 1 base each inning. That is nuts. I'm used to seeing like a 1.25, 1.5 out of most of your major league pitchers. So once that you're talking a 1 or a sub 1, you are up there just throwing some filth. Braves need to be careful, though, and they need to watch those pitches because Yamamoto does have 43 Ks on the season. So he has been attacking that strike zone. So should be an interesting series coming up for the Braves. This will be a weekend series, and you will be able to hear all 3 games right here on a 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your home for the Braves. So that is our Braves news of the day. Anybody else got any thoughts for the Braves?
Well, I was going to talk about the Dodgers real quick. I don't know if you saw.
Go for it.
Kiki Hernandez came in last night with their to pitch the 9th inning, and he was hilarious. He was throwing some 52, 45 mile an hour curveballs, and I mean everybody was laughing. If you get a chance to go online and look at that, that was something else to watch, because he was really taking it serious, and he had this helmet, the pitching helmet on. Yep. So he had that on. So it really did. But he got all 3 outs. Even the Marlins batters were just laughing. Oh yeah, they were laughing. I think Soler was one of them. I mean, he took the first pitch and it was like 48 mile an hour curveball. It caught the outside corner, and he just was laughing up at the bat. So I thought that was really good. I mean, but yeah. So yeah, that'd be something cool to check out.
Did he do like one of the other pitchers earlier this year and kind of did the same windups as everybody that was in his in the bullpen?
No, he didn't do that. I saw that one too. Those guys they're really having fun. I think they're.
I mean, at that point, what can you do? You know, if you're just going to be taking a beating of, like. Or if you just got a huge win like that and you're just not going to waste arms, why not go out and have fun?
Yeah.
You know, give the people, especially the people that are still there.
Right.
You know, because at 15-2, who's really going to be in the stadium anymore? The die-hard fan is still going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
The fan who just loves it is going to be there. So give them a little extra for their money. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, the breaking balls that he was throwing were breaking. I mean, they were breaking 4, 5, 6 inches. I mean, they wasn't obviously major league caliber, but they were still breaking. I mean, they were still, trying to stay back to hit it, and they just couldn't. I mean, they really tried, to hit him, but they could not do anything with that slow stuff.
It's always so funny to me, like when somebody will come in like that and they'll be throwing what they call the ephus pitches, which are those like coming in at like 40, 30 miles an hour, and watching these professional major league baseball players trying to hit these like little, like tyke balls, and they just swing so hard that they just totally miss them. It just cracks me up because they're so used to seeing these things coming in at 90, 105, things like that, that when it comes in at 30, they're just like, and it's almost like they have to think too hard about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay, it's coming in. What's it doing? And, it already went past me. What happened here?
Yeah, it's like an Indy car or NASCAR driver driving in like bumper to bumper rush hour traffic.
Yeah.
Like they're totally not used to that other element, used to going 180 miles an hour. And now like you're asking them to drive, 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, you better do 30 in traffic with everybody else that's doing 25 around you. I could see, that would probably drive me nuts.
Plus, like, if you got somebody pitching to you like that, you don't want to be embarrassed, right? There's a lot of pressure on you. You should crush the balls that they're throwing at you, right? So I think that kind of gets in your head a little bit. And to the pitcher's advantage, probably, too, whoever's throwing the balls, that, like, if it's getting into your head and you are expecting to mash like that and you can't, that's got to be pretty damn frustrating.
Oh, very, because you're sitting there, because you're seeing it. You're seeing this ball. Because, if you watch real pitchers, they're covering that ball with the glove and they're keeping it hidden until it's out at you. Well, if you watch these guys that aren't really pitchers, you can see that ball coming like, a pitching practice at you.
Yeah, it's like telegraphing.
It's not even being hidden. But it's so slow and it's so awkward. I'm going to say more awkward than slow, that they just, it's hilarious to me that they just cut so hard and miss. And I think it's because, like you said, Rick, they're trying to smash it. Yeah. Instead of just trying to make contact to get the ball somewhere in the field, they're just trying to this is slow enough, I can just crank it over the fence. But these guys are also forgetting that this is not a home run derby where he's trying to line it up for you to hit a home run. He's still trying to get you out to, in the game.
Right, and still, if somebody's throwing to you at 50 miles an hour, there's no guarantee, even if you rake it pretty hard, that it's going to go over the wall. I mean, physics.
Yeah.
Speed and, velocity times, like impact or what it's hitting, then you're going to get greater force. But, so if you're only throwing it 50 miles an hour, you can swing as hard as you want. It's not...
Yeah, it's going to come off the bat at 60.
Yeah, so the velocity it's coming off the bat, it's not going to be nowhere near what you're normally getting used to by your normal pitchers throwing like 95, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, you're not going to get that 112 off the bat with a long exit velo at 112 at a 15-degree angle where it gets a max height of 75 feet and all those things. Yeah, you're not going to do that. You're going to hit the ball 60 miles an hour back at him. Just because you don't have the force and energy coming with it. Because, baseball is very, very physics-oriented, similar to hockey. watching hockey like that too. Watching them on ice and then watching people who don't play hockey try to get on the ice. Hilarious. Love watching that. Love watching that. Well, it is the end of our number one, everybody. We will take a break. We will be right back. This is the Afternoon Underdogs live from the CBC Construction Studios. Hang around. When we get back, we will talk some NFL news.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Join Ryan and Jay tomorrow as the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive celebrates 2 years of broadcasting history by giving you the opportunity to win exclusive Golf Plus gear. Set your reminder for tomorrow at 12:40 and be ready to call 850-215-6290. It's the Inside Drive.
Middays 11 to 1. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Wednesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the south, mostly sunshine and 80. Partly cloudy skies tonight, slightly colder at 69. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a gentle breeze right around 9 miles per hour with a high of 81. The same at 81 Friday, and we'll have slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Want to experience the ultimate car wash? At Tommy's Express, you'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading, flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Try us for free. Text WASH 415 to 86697 to send our best wash, The Works, directly to your phone. You'll love the sudsy clean, ceramic wax, underbody flush, spot-free rinse, and tire gloss. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today. Offer valid to new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional and information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. The mission.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Afternoon Underdogs is who you are tuned into right now on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3, Panama City, 101.9, Port St. Joe. We are coming live to you from the CBC Construction Studio, and they are currently hiring. So if you are looking for a job in construction, looking to improve your life, looking to build that resume, give them a call or visit their website, CBC Construction, and you can fill out your application and get started by building Bay County. And this is the Jed Lawyer phone line, 850-215-6290. You can call us, you can text us, and if you need any legal help, need any legal advice, give Jed Lawyers a call or visit their website, jedwins.com. So I said we would get into some NFL news. Well, why don't we just go around the room and reintroduce everybody since we started an hour? Yes, let's do that. James Fife in the captain's chair. We got Paul Wilson with me. Caveman Rick hitting the ones and twos, making the show go out to the wide world that is the sports fandom. So NFL news is what we will discuss right now. Got some news coming out of the NFL. We'll start with some extensions to players that are currently playing. 49ers have extended George Kittle through the 2029 season. The contract is for $76.4 million. $40 million of that is guaranteed. Kittle now the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. Anybody thinks he actually plays out all 4 years of that?
No way. I think he gets hurt.
Yeah, he's 31 years old. I mean, he'd be playing until he's 35. The way things go with the league, I mean, if anything, they'll redo the deal, so this deal will get like torn up within a couple of years and get restructured or something, even if he was still staying. So, yeah, I don't think it sees the end of this deal.
Yeah, he's such a physical player, though, and then he doesn't have but one speed, and that's go. So, I think that's going to be his Achilles. Hopefully, not the Achilles.
Not the Achilles.
But hopefully, he'll be able to do it. But I just don't see it. Just in that position, they take a lot of balls across the middle of the field, and the way defenses are playing, I don't know. I don't see him staying healthy.
You're that emergency valve just kind of sitting there by yourself, but also sitting there by yourself also means that you are unprotected by anybody else except for that defensive back that's running in on you now because he saw that ball get into the air.
Yeah.
So I think from looking at it on Spot Rack, he's pretty easy to cut after the second year of the contract because it gets down to something like a $5 million cut. And teams will do that nowadays. You know, when you have a $200 million cap, $5 million cut for some guy that you really liked, but hey, it's been fun, we need to move on from you. I can kind of see that happening. But I think this contract was basically done for George Kittle to be a 49er for life.
Yeah.
Basically saying, yep, George, we love you here that much that we just want you to stay and just be a 49er. Don't worry about playing anywhere else, George. Other signings that happened. The Vikings have extended Van Ginkel for one more season, a $23 million contract, of which $22.4 million is guaranteed. At that point, why don't we just guarantee the last $500,000?
Yeah, I don't know why. That's kind of weird.
That's a weird one to me. It's like, if you're going to go that deep with it, just give them the money at that point, you know?
I guess, you want to try to stay away from fully guaranteed contracts, right?
I think that's what
you
the
don't
plan
want to
was.
set the precedent. So, I mean, like, even if you're holding back a couple bucks just so that you don't set that precedent, I guess that's what you have to do.
And, I mean, I do believe it's a signing bonus as well for each of the years. So, I mean, it's not even like, hey, you got to play great to get this money.
Right.
Although if they do cut him in 2 years, then, or it's not even a 2-year contract. It's only a 1-year contract. So, so you're going to get it anyway, because I bet you still sign. Because if they're already guaranteeing, like, hey, we're going to have this contract for you next year, they're not going to cut him and eat all that, because that would be a $23 million hit to the cap.
That's the cap. Yeah. So, I mean, you're not getting out from underneath that. So you have to plan on him staying and then hoping that, I don't know what the plan is, like betting on himself, and then, if he does do well, go someplace else and he's going to make some money, or if he doesn't, then you guys hang on to him and pay him at a reduced price. I don't know. The thinking, it's kind of weird, Yeah,
because wasn't he on a 1-year deal last year with the Vikings as well? So this is just another can kick?
I'm not sure, but if that's the case, then, you're almost better off franchising tagging him, you would think.
You would think. I don't know what...
maybe you pay him less if you didn't franchise tag him. I don't know.
I think they're probably paying him less. We'd have to go look up what franchise tag is for that right now, because franchise tag is what the top 3 guys average.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and he's not a top 3 guy. So you would not want to pay an average for a top 3 guy there. So we could go look that up, but I don't see it being.
They probably believe that this year's their shot. With JJ coming back and possibly. Them just keeping some familiarity around the defense, because they wasn't horrible on defense. No. They wasn't at all. They had Alabama guy Dallas Turner. He played really well there, and then having him coming in on the other side. So that's probably what they were doing, just thinking that this year might be their year.
More news from the NFL. Former FSU quarterback Jordan Travis is retiring from football. All from that injury that we saw him get taking on the University of North Alabama, I do believe it was that game, and which he broke his leg. He was drafted in the 2024 draft by the Jets, did not play in any games for the Jets last year, didn't really do any dressing, did a couple of small practices. But apparently his left leg is just not recovering well enough that he can get out there and play football. So feel very brokenhearted and very sad for that young man not being able to fulfill that dream.
I just looked it up. It looks like the franchise tag would have been about $27 million. The transition tag, if somebody else wanted him, would be basically what he's getting, $22.6 million.
So basically, it's
a wash.
Just to keep him there.
Yeah,
just to keep him there.
Yeah, so it's not really a movement maker there. So it's what you were going to get basically if you went somewhere else.
Pretty much.
So you can either stay here where you already got a house and you're used to it, or
you know the system.
You can go to the market and see what you get.
Values you.
And you also have a chance of maybe winning. You're also playing with a pretty decent team. You go to another team, you might be going to a team that's at the bottom of the barrel, scraping to get by. And then you're getting more money, but winning's not there. No W's.
I mean, Vikings have a chance at winning the North. I mean, other than the Lions have probably the best chance of winning the North.
Yeah,
but the Vikings are a solid second-place team in that division, and probably right now a wild card team.
Yeah, well, I mean, you also got Green Bay, too, is pretty decent. And then, the Bears are moving on up, so that's one of those divisions that might kind of cannibalize itself,
Yeah.
with wins going all around the division. So then it's all going to be contingent on kind of how you do outside the division and the rest of the conference.
Yep. Like it. What other kind of good NFL news do we have? The Washington Commanders and the District of Columbia have a stadium deal. Something that Dan Snyder himself could not do is now getting done. And I mostly think that was because it was Dan Snyder.
Yeah, exactly.
And DC and the team and everybody just did not want to deal with him.
Yeah,
he was just toxic the whole way around.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And as soon as he was gone, he kind of figured that they were going to get a new deal done.
Yeah.
And now the question is, I guess, is going to be where? Because, I mean, DC is pretty
It's
congested.
going on the RFK site. So they're taking RFK down.
Okay.
And they are going to build a stadium there. It is going to be roofed. They don't know if it's going to be a permanent dome yet, or if it's going to have the ability to have the sliding roof, so that way they can have the door open, ceiling open, roof open sometimes. But the total adventure right now is set at $2.7 billion. Of that, 1.147 will be paid by Washington, D.C. So, at least the owner here is putting something into it. It's a little more of a percentage than most owners, because most owners are usually only putting in about a 40% rate. And this one looks like the owner of the Commanders is at least putting in about 60%. So I think that's another reason, because Dan Snyder was running around just basically wanting the stadium to be built.
Oh, yeah.
You will build this stadium, and you will build it here. And Maryland, because Maryland and Virginia, because he wasn't even approaching D.C., we're like, no, we don't care. No, you're fine. And it wasn't that horrible of an old stadium that they're playing in right now, FedEx, right? It's only about as old as the Titan Stadium.
Yeah, but they had some issues there. There was a game there where the Eagles were there a couple of years ago where a railing kind of collapsed and some people kind of fell towards one of the tunnels when some of the players were going out after a game. So there was that. So, I mean, there was some deterioration.
I mean, one of the games last year, one of the Blackwater lines, if anybody knows what a Blackwater line is, it erupted in one of the club levels and began to rain on the people who are paying a lot of money to sit in a club level seat. So, and again, it's not that old of a stadium. Yes, you got to spend money to keep a stadium up. And that usually falls onto the team's responsibility once that they get into the stadium. Most of those contracts do say that the team will keep, the stadium maintenance up. If there's something big that has to be taken care of course you go and you talk about it with the city or whoever else you've got this venture with. But, a Blackwater line is basic maintenance. You keep that going. Keeping the guardrails up and working, that's basic maintenance. You keep that going. That just shows you how cheap Dan Snyder was with this team. He was literally letting a stadium that he didn't have to build fall apart.
Yeah.
One of those great things that when Dan Snyder was kicked out of the league, I was so happy.
Well, when he bought the team, didn't he get that stadium as part of the deal? Wasn't that part of buying the team?
It was a publicly funded stadium.
So I was going to say, if that was the case and he owned it, then, I mean, it's his responsibility to maintain it at that point.
Because it was right after he bought the team. No, it was right before he bought the team moved. So the team was going into a new stadium when Ken Cook died. So, he got the new-ish stadium when he moved into it. So it was basically brand new when he got his hands on it and did nothing to keep it going. God, it was so
Well, I think a lot of the owners aren't going to do that. They're going to, pass the buck, and then like when it comes time a stadium's needing to be built, they're going to be like, well, look at this stadium, it's old, it's this, it's that, have a laundry list of all these issues that the stadium has, obviously because they didn't maintain or take care of it, but that just gives it more weight to get the new stadium done.
Yeah, well, it also gives them like, hey, look, this stadium's falling apart, I want to move.
That's true too.
That's a lot of what teams do sometimes is they will literally just like, no, don't fix that, don't fix that, we'll take care of that later. Because they're trying to sabotage it to get to move. I mean, because look, how much of a fight was there to just put a roof back onto the Trop? That roof has been missing since October, and the city council finally last month said, okay, we still own the building. We need to put a roof on it because we still own it and we don't want to lose it. That's how long that took. It was awful. Now, should the Rays pay something into it? Yeah, they should. They're in there. They're making money off of it. But fine print says if something like the roof falls off, it's not their responsibility. So the Rays just said, no, not our responsibility.
Well, where's the insurance coming in on this stuff, too? Because, a lot of this had to do with, the storms and stuff like that, So you would think they would have to have it, properly insured in such a way that if stuff like this happens, they're kind of covered, too, just like your house.
Yes, no, a lot of local governments self-insure. So you're not always going out and buying an insurance policy from places for some of these things. Now, some of the more expensive things, county governments will, pay for insurance on more expensive buildings like you probably should for the Trop. But even, smaller municipalities, they don't have everything insured. They'll, report to the state, we are self-insured, which just basically is telling the state if something happens, we'll pay 100% of it. Right. We're not going to have any liability, whatever. So I guess that maybe St. Pete was relying on the Rays maybe keeping a little bit of insurance on it so that way if the roof got torn up that they could get it replaced at least in a quick fashion.
Right.
But I'm not quite sure what happened there because the way that the story was written and kind of reading between the lines on it, it made it seem like the city of St. Pete was going to just be paying out of pocket for the new roof.
What a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess, and now it looks like maybe they might end up in Orlando. There's a group in Orlando that's got something like $1.4 billion ready to go.
Wow.
So I don't know. I think they have a better chance of moving, I think, if they stay within the state, especially if they kind of stay in that Central Florida area, because I think Manfred just wants to keep that market. And I think the only way that the Rays are going to be let out of that market is if Stu sells the team. Because right now, Manfred's just balking any move that he says, like, I want to go. No, this is a Tampa team. We're going to figure this out after everybody has their stadiums on if we're going to move anybody or not. But I think this is more of a situation where Manfred's just tired of dealing with Stu. Kind of like when Gary Bettman was getting tired of dealing with the Arizona Coyotes ownership. And basically saying, we're not going to let you move the team. Now, if somebody else wants to come in and buy this team, we will absolutely consider moving this team.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see this team moving because I don't think this team, the Rays are not going to be sold by Stu.
Well,
he's going to hang on to it forever.
A lot of that is like with the NHL, for instance, and why the Coyotes didn't get bought. It's cheaper to form an expansion team than it is to buy an existing team. So if you got the money and the capital and you want to have a team, you're better off starting your own team instead of buying a team that already exists. So, and plus, you don't have the history of that team that you're tied to as well. You kind of started your own thing, forged your own path, and you don't have the ties to the old franchise. But if you're an ownership group, it's more advantageous for you to expand. But like what I was saying yesterday, there's too many teams to begin with, I think, in a lot of these, leagues that we have. And if they thinned it down a little bit, you get rid of a few of these teams, you wouldn't have some of these issues in some of these cities that probably, let's be frank, probably shouldn't have a team.
Yeah, we're not going to see any kind of contraction, though. Owners don't want it. Major League Baseball doesn't want it. We're not going to see contraction.
No.
I think maybe you could have some contraction, but with some of the leagues, they're actually still fairly competitive. So I just don't really see contraction happening. And the NHL right now is even looking at growing more.
Yes, and that's stupid too, because they're also talking about cities they've already been in, like in Atlanta. That's already failed twice.
That was ownership.
So you're going to go a third time? Nah, it's not just ownership. That's just the city, too. I mean, like, it was great for a few years. Everybody's like, yeah, we got a hockey team. I mean, I lived in Atlanta back when the Thrashers were there, and they weren't a huge draw. I mean, there's just certain areas, certain cities where you're going to have something like that. I mean, the Sunbelt states, Florida, California, having teams in Texas and such, all that stuff came about because of Gretzky going to L.A., right, and having success there. Well, some of these areas shouldn't have some of these sports. I'm just being frank about it. I mean, like in Florida, I mean, they've had luck here in Florida with winning Stanley Cups, right, recently. Just recently. In the last 5-6 years, okay? Before that, not a rich wealth of history for the sport of hockey in Florida, and rightly so, because it's Florida. It doesn't necessarily mix so well with a sport like hockey, being up in the ice and cold, Great White North Canada kind of thing. But, yeah, I mean, if you can't afford to take care of arenas and stadiums, if you can't put butts in the seats, and you've already had two chances prior, like I said, a city like Atlanta, I don't think you should get a third one. I mean, if you can go to other cities, Quebec maybe again.
You're not going to see a team in Canada, period.
That's probably not going to happen, but I'm just still saying that's an area that might be deserving of one again, or to try a second time, if you will. So, but
I mean, Canada is where they need to put teams just because it'll go huge. They'll sell out. They'll sell tickets. But the thing is the economy's not going to allow it.
No.
You know, the Canadian dollar is stronger than it was back in like the 2000s, but it's still not as strong of an economic, fiat as the U.S. dollar. And with that, right now, if you got a tariff and trade agreements going on, it's just going to make that just even a little bit harder. And if you look at how NHL contracts are constructed, they're all constructed in the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
So that means when a Canadian team goes into negotiations with a player, they are negotiating, that player's money in American dollars, but having to pay out in Canadian dollars. And that's a big discrepancy on difference. You're losing 20-30%, monies right there because of, the exchange rates.
In college about that, matter of fact, when I was a freshman in college, about how free agency really isn't free in the NHL. And not only that, how you were talking about the player salaries, also travel expenses are also paid by the dollar.
Yep.
So all of the overhead that these franchises are dealing with is all American money, but all the revenue they're getting in is off the loonie, the Canadian dollar.
Yeah, and it's not nearly as strong.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Wright State Chris on the line with us. Wright State Chris, what do you got for us on the Afternoon Underdogs?
Well, James, I heard you talking to Ryan earlier today, and I'm glad we still got Caveman in there talking hockey, and the other gentleman. I'm not sure how much hockey you know, but and I apologize, but. Do we think that this year the Hurricanes can do any damage? Because it always seems like that they're getting to the playoffs, they win the first round, but then they get taken out by someone either better than them or someone that, isn't better than them. Like 3 years ago when the Bolts lost to the Avalanche, they lost to the Rangers in the semifinals, and they always, it always seems like the Hurricanes are going to do something, and then is it just the East is too tough, or what do we think about the Hurricanes this year?
Hurricanes, I like them this year. They're looking good. Rod Brindamore has got them playing well. They are a very high-powered offense, go, go, go offense. Do worry about the goaltending back in, but right now, the Hurricanes have advanced. We saw that last night, defeating the Devils. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Capitals probably win tonight. They'll advance on. Now, if the Caps can get Thompson back in the net, this is going to be a hard pick for me to go with the Hurricanes over the Capitals, because the Capitals are just riding super, super high off of the Ovi record right now. And as long as the Capitals can have some consistent goaltending in the net, I'm just not quite sure the Devils can put up enough firepower to just overcome the amount of scoring that I think the Capitals can do. But the Hurricanes are in a spot right now where they are in a window, and I can still see that window being open for a year or two. If they can get to the offseason and really shore up some more goaltending, but we say that every year with Carolina. That's just where they just keep getting stuck, kind of like the Colorado Avalanche over the last few years. if they can shore up that goaltending, you've got a team that can run deep into the East, because they do have that little bit of grit that you need to have to play playoff hockey, which is one of the things that the Devils didn't have as a young team this year. Had a lot of good scoring, but they just didn't have that grit to just move on into the playoffs, and they didn't have that explosive offense that can just blow you out of the water. So the Hurricanes, being a great team this year, I congratulate them on getting to the second round. Big step for them. I just don't see them making it out of the second round to the Capitals.
Yeah, I think I'd kind of agree with James saying, like, they're pretty top-heavy, good offense, not so much so great on the back end, defensive goaltending-wise. There's a lot of more firepower in the East. I think it's come down to, like, some of the problems that they had, too. First round, they would have, like, home ice. Then second round, they wouldn't have home ice. They'd be playing against another, team that was probably on par with them. And then it would go deep, 6-7 games, and they end up losing because they probably didn't have home ice. So maybe just the difference of having home ice might make a difference. Well, against Washington, they're not going to have that.
Nope.
So looking at that, and they got the extra game, it's going to be kind of tough for the Carolina Hurricanes. I do like their identity, though. They got the identity of their head coach, Rod Brindamore. Tough, hard-nosed player, real smart, player. Plays with a good head on his shoulders. So the team, plays the right way. It's just, are they going to have enough firepower? Are they going to have enough, to get over that hump? And I don't know about that right now either.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been in this window for a little bit, and they just always seem like, whether it was the Bolts or the Rangers or somebody else, just always seemed to get the best of them, and they never looked like they were the better team ever either. So, I'm also looking forward if Florida ends up beating the Bolts tonight. I'm looking forward to Florida punching the laughs in the mouth, because anytime you can punch Toronto in the mouth is great.
Oh, that's a great feeling. That is a great feeling. It's my least favorite NHL team goes to the Leafs, basically for the same reason that my least favorite NFL team is the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, but like you were saying earlier, the last time the Toronto did anything was in the 60s, and they still remember it. They still got what I always liked when I was watching, when I had the Athletic, and I would see Canadian fans arguing with Toronto fans. Like, Canadian fans had the exact amount of days it was since the last time Toronto won a Stanley Cup, and then there was only 6 teams back then anyways. So you've got the whole entire hockey universe in Toronto, and yet they can't come up with a sustained winner whatsoever. So, to any of the Canadian fans laughing out there, it's funny. But anyways, no, I think the East is just so high-powered. It's just, you got all these great teams, and the Panthers could have easily made the Stanley Cup playoffs, Stanley Cup finals a couple years ago, but they always had to go through Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay, when Vazzy's going tough, it's really hard to beat Vazzy. So it's just, the East has just been really tough. I feel like if Carolina was in the West, they could have at least made one Stanley Cup final. But I don't know. Do you guys feel the same way at all? Or
I don't know. The West kind of tough too, man. They had Colorado, Dallas is pretty good. Edmonton's been pretty good up until late. LA's not too shabby, so I think they still have the same amount of problems. Like, Vegas has been playing really well the last handful of years since they came into the league. I think they'd run into the same problems. Sometimes you just a buzzsaw. Like my Flyers, for instance, man, great hockey team for a lot of years, but just unfortunately ran into these powerhouses like the Edmonton Oilers back in the 80s, the Detroit Red Wings in the 90s. Back in 2010, it was the Chicago Blackhawks, So when you're running into these teams that are just a little bit better than you, you can be the best in your half of the league in your conference, but you got that one other team just got a little bit more than you do, and you just meet up with them at the wrong time.
For me, Carolina going, and if they did play in the West, they got the firepower, but the West is just so big and so gritty and so mean. I just don't know if they got those guys that they could respond with once that game got really dark, dirty, and in the trenches.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just, if you look at who's made the playoffs out of the East the last 5, 6, 7 years, Carolina's been there every single year. It's just they always fail in the second round, and it's always perplexing because it always seems to be it's going to be Carolina's year, and then it's not. But I love that atmosphere there. I love the fact that they've embraced hockey there. I feel like more southern states could embrace hockey if they gave it a real try, because there's, hockey is just as tough as football, if not tougher, and I feel like a lot of southern states love their football. So, I love the fact that these southern states are doing well to show the NHL that hockey can succeed in the Sun Belt,
It's one of those you just got to take your friends to a game. Because once you take them to a live game, even if it's a minor league hockey game, that's when you get them hooked. Because they see the excitement, they see the action, they see the absolute speed of it in person. And that's what makes hockey so, so great for me.
Yeah, yep, I agree. Well,
don't forget all those people coming down from the northern states too. There's a lot of snowbirds that are here.
Oh yeah, that's
why Tampa moving. They're moving to Florida, Texas, a lot. So that's you're going to have your northern fans coming down. They're still going to want to see their hockey.
I mean, you're getting guys now that are getting drafted in the first round in the NHL draft that were born in Florida.
Yeah.
Not even born in Florida, but learned the sport in Florida before they, were 14, 15 and moved on into the junior ranks. And, there's more junior programs up north than in the south, but,
guy like Austin Matthews is from, Arizona.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more rinks being built, There's a lot more space to be found and a lot more rinks being built and a lot more ice time being got, you know.
The cost on those coolers for the rink are coming down, too, which helps out a lot. Trust me on that one.
Well, one last thing. Do you think that they're ever going to figure out a synthetic ice enough where you can have an outdoor game in Florida in February?
So what you're going to do for that is you're not going to want to do a synthetic ice. I've dealt with some of the synthetic ices throughout my time trying to do practice on them and things like that. If you're just doing some regular skating drills, regular puck drills, shooting at the net, things like that, there's some of those synthetic ices that work okay for that kind of training. But when I try to do any of my goaltender training, it doesn't have the same viscosity to it, so you don't get those really great slides with it. Now, they do sell these inserts that you can put on the inside of your pads that just basically make it a little bit slicker so you can move back and forth. But you can set up an outdoor rink in Florida. You'd have to do a game. You'd have to do it at night. I'd want to move it more towards probably Tampa than Miami just to lose some of the humidity. But nowadays with some of these chillers, you can run 5 or 6 of them and you can get them on under that ice. Now it's going to be more of a thinner ice game. Most NHL rinks are between 1.5 to 2 inches. Now you're probably only going to get a nice 1-inch solid on it. But if you're only going to play one game on it, or 2 or 3 games, it's fine enough to do that. Now, if I'm going to play a full season on it, I'd want that extra 1/2 inch to 1 inch of ice on it just for consistency, just for a little bit of hardness and less chip.
Caveman, did you throw open your mouth a little bit hearing outdoor game in Florida for hockey?
Yeah, if that, I'm sure they'll probably end up trying to make it happen. If they do, they probably need to do it earlier in the year too, maybe more in January where it's still going to be colder out. And like James was saying, you have to, the humidity is the worst thing for ice. That's the whole reason why, back in the 90s, when Florida went to its first Stanley Cup final against Colorado, you had so many issues with the ice. I mean, buildings down in Miami, they weren't suited for, having, ice in June, to have an NHL quality type game. So we saw what kind of problems they had there. But I think, a lot of buildings have worked those kind of kinks out for the most part. I think if, you put enough technology, enough money at it, and you do it in the right, parameters, like James was saying, have the game at night, do it in the right location, preferably probably someplace away from the water, further inland, maybe Orlando or something like that, where you can cut down on the humidity. I think that would probably help out a bunch.
Yeah. It's a wonder what they've been able to do with everything, and, I really like those outdoor games. James, have you ever been outdoors when it's snowing and played hockey?
I mean, just on a pond, I have done that. I've not played in any official games outdoors where it was snowing. I have, however, played in an outdoor game in Hamilton, Ohio, which is greater Cincinnati. And the only problem is it was Ohio and it was October. So it was still warm and it was still sticky. They did have a roll roof over it because it was a daytime game, so they did cover the ice on it, but it was the early 2000s, and it was just soft and squishy, so it was awful because all I remember was my leg pads just soaking up water.
My parents actually live in Hamilton, and my brother lives in Oxford. Have you ever been to Goggins at all at Miami of Ohio?
Yes, I have.
Arena? Yeah, it's a beautiful arena there.
Beautiful arena.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, we got to head on into a break, but thank you for the call today, my man.
Yeah, man. Y'all have a great one. Appreciate y'all.
Have a good day. Thank you, Chris. All right, we are going to take a quick break. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, coming live to you from the CBC Construction Studios. We will be right back after this. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get back.
Your attention, please. ESPN Northwest Florida reminds you it's the law. It's the law. When there's a double red flag, stay out of the water, stick your toes in the sand, grab a cold drink, and listen to live sports.
Swung on, miss, strike three.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Double play!
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 70 with wind 3 to 7 miles per hour out of the southeast. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a light breeze and hot near 80. Partly sunny and 81 in the afternoon and evening. 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine with a light breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable buildings. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
Known for its crispy chicken tenders, flavorful wings, and generous portions, Lickin' Chicken has become a local favorite. Lickin' Chicken's commitment to quality and bold flavors keeps customers coming back for more. One satisfied patron shared on Facebook.
First time at Lickin' Chicken, and I'll return often. Man, them lemon pepper and garlic parm wings were amazing. My daughter and I devoured them. They don't short you on the fries either.
Lickin' Chicken, 1320 North Tyndall Parkway.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Who was hired? Who was fired? Trades, drafts, and playoffs. We're talking about it.
That trade, when it was made, was the right trade.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, right here on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon Underdogs, right here, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, coming live to you from the CBC Construction Studio. And CBC is currently hiring if you are looking for a new job. You can also call us, text us, 850-215-6290. Our phone lines are sponsored by the Jed Law Firm, so anytime you need any legal help, give them a call. Let them know what they can do for you. Got one more bit of NFL news, and then we'll roll into a little bit of playoff talk. And this will be the last time I bring up the name Shadur Sanders for the rest of the show. I promise everybody. Now, you guys can bring it up. I'm not going to bring it up anymore. But the NFL, in all of its wisdom, has now set fines for the prank call that Shedeur Sanders received. So the NFL has come out with $250,000 of a fine for the Atlanta Falcons and have come up with a $100,000 fine for Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. So $250,000 fine for the team. Drop in the bucket. They're making billions. They're fine. Now, Jeff Ulbrich, though, $100K fine. Man is getting paid $1.6 million this year. Good amount of money, but let's take away some taxes. Now, what are we talking? We're talking about what, maybe $1 million you're getting?
Yeah.
And then you got an agent to pay, right? He gets what, about 10%? So now
Probably
you're down
so.
to, $900,000, and now you've been fined $100,000. That's a good chunk of money for the man.
Yeah.
That's 10% of the income that you were expecting to take home that year that your kid in college, and I'm sure college isn't cheap, got you to pay out to the league. Not a great look. And then filming yourself doing it. Come on, man. Don't leave evidence. Hasn't anybody taught you anything?
Yeah, I don't know what the kid was thinking, but probably just entitled, trying to have a little good time or whatever with his buddies, probably, hey, look at me. But it's kind of crazy. Like, I think the fine, though, okay, so the DC is going to get it, right? He's going to learn his lesson. Obviously, Atlanta Falcons don't care because, like you said, drop in the bucket, right? I'm sure, if his kid's going to school for anything worthwhile, he's going to be owing dad $100,000 here down the road or something like that. You know what I mean? For for this screw up. But so the punishment kind of fits the crime in some ways. They need to do that stuff more with the fining. They have these scales set up, a certain dollar amounts. But if you're getting paid just gratuitous amounts of money, $100,000's nothing. If you're getting paid say $50 million or whatever. So let the punishment fit the crime. I think they have to have do a percentage of what you're earning. You know what I'm saying, for these fines.
I like that.
And find a fair percentage. So that way, if somebody who's making buku bucks does something gratuitous, they get hit the same way somebody like this guy's getting hit. So it's not lopsided. You know what I mean?
So your Deshaun Watson loses 5% and your minimum wage, long snapper loses 5%.
Yeah, they have the same no matter what, no matter what the position is, on the field or how much you're making, whatever rule you broke, whatever infraction, they basically say it's X amount of dollars. They should make it X amount of percent. Or X amount of game checks, however you want to divide that up. But so it's the same for every player.
I'm feeling
and they're
it.
all getting hit the same way.
I'm
And
feeling
then
it.
that way you might have some of this stuff curbed. Because, what's the deterrent a lot of times? Doing something that you don't want to do or paying money that you don't really have. Well, if you get hit that way, I think you're going to learn your lesson a little bit more.
So here's another thing that will go along with this story. So apparently Abdul Carter, the third draft pick in the draft, also got a prank call during the second pick of the draft when Travis Hunter got taken. Not only that, Mason Graham, who was drafted by the Browns, also got a prank call. Indianapolis Colts, Tyler Warren, also got a prank call. Philadelphia Eagles, Kyle McCord, also got a prank call. And the Buffalo Bills, Chase Lunt, also got a prank call. Now, is the NFL going to take as much action on these prank calls?
Do they have video of the person doing it and know who it is, like they do here in this case with Atlanta?
Yeah.
I think that's some of the stuff that they'd have to figure out, and how much time and energy and money they're really going to put into trying to find out who did what. But it should be the same across the board, don't you think?
I think so. You got to come down. Step one.
But did the prank call from these other people come from somebody from another team, or was just some random Joe that had the phone number and just called somebody up to prank them? Because that's something else too. Now, if you got other teams involved doing this, then then I think the league can get involved. But if you or I just pranked one of these guys, what are they going to do? Hit up, the Tennessee Titans because you're a Titans fan?
Ooh, I'd like that.
Or me, the Eagles, because I'm an Eagles fan and make us pay, you know what I'm saying? Just because the fan did that. So there's something to be said there, too, though, on who actually did the crime.
Now, my big issue with this, though, is NFL security. Phone numbers are fairly public. Most phone numbers for most people you can find, and even phone numbers for, celebrities and things like that. If you want to do some super hard digging, you can probably find most of these numbers.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
But with the NFL, this kid literally opening his dad's iPad to get the number. Now, that's a problem. the NFL does need to have a little bit of security for this. Because, I mean, if you work for a place, do you really, unless you're like working sales or something, do you really want your employer like just handing out your number to everybody that comes walking through the door? Not really, especially in a position like where these guys are in, where they're in a fairly public-facing thing right now. Because the NFL draft is a very public-facing thing. Everybody, not everybody watches it, but plenty of people watch it. I mean, we're still talking about it now, and it ended on Sunday?
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday.
So the NFL needs to do something to shore up their quote-unquote cyber security. I don't know what other term to use for this.
Yeah, but if the kid pulled it off his dad's iPad, there's not much you can do. I mean, it's on the person who had it on the iPad. It's on the DC. It's not on the NFL at that point. And then, like, rightly so, he's getting punished by getting fined, So, like I said, hopefully he'll learn his lesson. I mean, there's so much you can do deterrent-wise, but, I mean, you can't be 24/7 everywhere, you know what I mean, to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen. People have to police themselves and do the right thing and not, like, let their knuckleheaded kid, like, get a hold of their iPad. It's like, that's like on par with, a player or a coach leaving like a playbook out where somebody else can grab.
Similar.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, my iPad, though, if you want to get in my iPad right now, you've got to have my finger. Because without my finger, you're not going to get into my iPad.
Because you set it up that way. But if you were lazy and you just had it where you can just pick up the iPad and you can just peruse through there and look at whatever you want with no security.
Right.
That's on you.
Well, I mean, that's what the NFL needs to crack down on. They need to be like, look, these, any of these communication devices that you're going to be using for any kind of NFL thing needs to be secure. I mean, I used to work for the government. I worked at parks. There's no secrets at parks, but still, I had a secure phone line.
Yeah. And you think about it, too. This is somebody that's getting drafted. This isn't even somebody who's in the league yet. Okay? He's not even an NFL player yet at this point in time. You know what I'm saying? He's just a draft candidate in Shedeur Sanders, who got pranked. So what do you do there? You know what I mean?
I would be curious to see on the kid's side, because that's what he was trying to do, is go viral. And obviously the video went viral. Everybody's seen the video.
We're talking about it.
We're talking about it. I just wonder if he got more followers, if he made money off the videos. I mean, I think that's probably something that, he might be able to give dad back some money if he made some money on his YouTube videos.
Right. Yeah.
The bad thing about Abdul Carter is that he thought specifically the Jaguars traded up to get him.
Ooh.
That was the story that came out on him. He literally thought that the Jaguars was going to trade that pick or go up to move up to get him. And, that just... when they said Travis Hunter, I don't know how the phone call went, but it was just that one to me stuck out as like, because that was realistic, because, having him.
Hey, this is the Jags, and we are taking you. Second pick.
Yeah, I mean, as good a player as he was, that's believable. It's believable to go there. So
yes, quite.
So,
that's...
But yeah, that's just terrible.
Well, maybe to get rid of that, maybe they need to stop having the teams call the players. Maybe like there's a call center or like one place where the calls are coming from, because everybody's at the draft anyway, right?
Most of them.
So I mean, like, or they have representation at the draft. Let's put it that way.
Right,
All the teams have representation. So you have whoever you're like. Typically, a lot of times the head coach will call up, "Hey man, this is so and so. I just want to let you know, welcome you to the team because we're about to draft you. Blah blah blah." Well, do you really need to have that to be the first call? You talking to the head coach telling that you're going to get drafted? I just have some random Joe that works for the team. His job is to call people up to let them know. You get that first phone call, you get drafted. After you get drafted, then you can talk to the head coach or whoever on the team, and they can welcome you, greet you, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just take that kind of BS out of there. And if you did that, you could probably mitigate all of this. Because, I mean, like this happened, you said, like, you just named off 6 or 7 guys that got pranked or swatted, if you will, or however you want to call it, right? It happens every year. This is something that's been happening every draft now for the last handful of years.
At least the last 4 years.
Yes, I'm saying last handful of years or so. So this is only going to continue to happen. So I think you also have to be, as like somebody in the draft, be a little aware and conscious that, like, hey, this could potentially be happening. So when I get this first call, maybe there needs to be like some kind of code word, safe word, you know what I mean, that they're using. And then like, hey, this is a legit phone call.
Hello, Jaguars, banana.
Yeah.
Maria Michelson wrote on the Facebook that the Sanders prank call is on CBS News right now.
Hey,
So
we're
it's on CBS right now. So
we're matching our competition with bringing news to the people. We're doing our jobs, everybody. I love it.
I loved back in the day, though, when they used to have the draft and they would have all the teams sitting there and they would hand the card.
Yeah, actually hand the card in.
I love that. I love the excitement before, because, they'd shoot it on the screen and all that. But I just like that way of doing it. So maybe if they could go back to something like that.
I mean,
to kind
still,
of centralize
NHL, they have it like where they have all the tables set out and they have the representation from all the teams at all the tables and like they're all in like that one location. They're not like, the Philadelphia Flyers are in their own building doing their own thing and then the Maple Leafs are over here doing their own thing. I mean, they're all together still. So it still kind of has that old school kind of vibe in the NHL world.
And there's no call at the NHL until they go up to the podium and say the name. Then the call happens to the player.
See, that would probably solve it.
That'll actually solve it right there.
Yeah,
You
could
just,
too if you do it
just
that
nip
way.
it in the bud that the player doesn't know until somebody walks up there, says your name, then the phone rings.
Yeah, that could be a way too. But there's easy ways they could figure it out.
Oh, there's tons of ways you could figure it out. They're just... It's
We're
a
still
problem.
talking about it.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Well,
You need to
maybe they
address it.
want us to talk about it. Maybe that's the reason why.
I think so. It's viral.
Anything publicity, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, the amount of attention that you're getting for free, you can't buy. You know what I'm saying? On all these news networks and stuff to talk about all this junk. So
Yeah, we're saying NFL right now at a not NFL time of year, so they're staying in the cycle. Well, speaking of staying in the cycles, we have got to go to a quick break. We will be right back with our $2 bets, and we'll go into this day in history. You are listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida, live from the CBC Construction Studios.
ESPN Northwest Florida. We're taking the Inside Drive.
Join Ryan and Jay tomorrow as the Best of Bay awarded Inside Drive celebrates 2 years of broadcasting history by giving you the opportunity to win exclusive Golf Plus gear. Set your reminder for tomorrow at 12:40 and be ready to call 850-215-6290. It's the Inside Drive.
Middays 11 to 1. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida. For tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 70 with wind 3 to 7 miles per hour out of the southeast. Some clouds tomorrow morning, a light breeze and hot near 80. Partly sunny and 81 in the afternoon and evening. 81 and slight fog in the morning, but otherwise mostly sunshine with a light breeze Friday. This is your Wednesday's weather brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Dothan and Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
So you've heard the saying that if you love your job, you'll never have to work? Well, it's true.
I've worked for Brock Lawn and Pest Control for many years. The commitment to the needs of customers
and their commitment to each employee makes Brock a company I'm very proud to be a part of.
Brock's core values are also mine. Give people more than they expect and always honor your promises.
This isn't a job. It's a service to help people live a healthier lifestyle.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control. Our family protecting your family.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida. He entered a kids' 1 mile fun run and came in 9th. David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. Weekdays 4 to 6 on ESPN Northwest Florida and the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
And we are back. Afternoon Underdogs, final section of this Wednesday. Happy hump day to all of our listeners out there across Northwest Florida, Panama City, Port St. Joe, and across the World Wide Web, downloading and listening to the app no matter where they be. And like I say, CBC Construction Studio is where we are live and located right now. And you can call us, text us 850-215-6290 on the Jed Lawyer phone and text line. Be sure to be listening to the Inside Drive tomorrow, second anniversary of the show. Congratulations, Ryan. Congratulations, Jay. 2 years on the air. So proud of you guys. And they will be giving away some cool prizes tomorrow. I know that they will be giving away Golf Plus gear. So be listening at about 12:40 for that gear and be calling us 850-215-6290. And in the morning, bright and early in the morning, and I am not a bright early morning person, but this man is, James Hale, and the Coach James Hale Show will be coming to you live on the airwaves at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So be listening right there. And Braves coverage will be coming back on Friday, and it will be against the Dodgers. Braves coming back home to face the Dodgers. So in our final section, what I like to do is I like to have our $2 bets, and we go over a little bit of this day in history. So I will start off with my $2 bets so you guys can pull something up if you like. And my bet for the opener, I will go into the NBA and the NBA playoffs. I will take the Warriors at a +4, and I will also take the over for the game at 203.5. My $2 bet, if it hits, I will get $6.50 from the fine people at Hard Rock. What you got, Rick?
Shoot, hold on, let me get the volume on here. For me, let's see. Game's already started, got one already going with one of my teams. Of course, I got Philadelphia, I got the Phillies, one that I liked anyways. Didn't think that we were going to have like maybe the greatest outing, to be honest with you. Let me pull it up here so I can give you the exact numbers I got on here. I just went with something pretty similar, something simple. The Phillies to win. I got the Phillies winning by 2+ runs, or plus 1.5, and then I got the over and runs at 7.5 for that game.
Right on.
That $2 bet would pay me. Let me see here right quick, just to give the guys a number. 185.
185. Paul,
I'm just going to make one pick today, and I'm just going to go with the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to beat the Rockets. How about that?
All right, we got the Warriors beating the Rockets. My next bet, I got a three-way parlay in the Cubs game. I am taking the Cubs, giving up the 1.5 runs. I am going to take the over at 8.5 in Seiya Suzuki to go over on the 0.5. The Cubs will be taking on the Pirates today. This is my big bet on $2. If my $2 bet hits with this one, I will be given a whole $8.50.
Cha-ching.
I love it. Rick, you got another one for us?
Yeah, I'm doing another one this evening as well. It's on the Tampa Bay, Florida game, hockey game tonight. It's something I don't normally do. I usually go for points, but I want some goals on some guys. Might be the last game of that season, but I got Matthew Tkachuk with a goal. I got Jay Gensel with a goal, and I got Kucherov together with a goal. So $2 on that. It'd be plus 1,100. So it looks like that would turn into $22. But then my $2 back, $24.
Nice.
Not a bad
Nice.
one. So hopefully, but you got to get 3 goals or. Yeah, 3 goals in that game at least.
Tough one, but it could pay out pretty well for you. And I got one last one here, going to some hockey. Panthers to win, Capitals to win. No goal differentials there, just straight up to win. My $2 bet there, $6.02. Anybody else got one, or do we want to move on?
We only got a few minutes, so probably should move on.
Let's move on. This day in history, it is April 30th, and on this day, 1939, Lou Gehrig sets the Major League Baseball record by playing in his 2,130th consecutive and final game for the New York
Iron
Yankees.
Horse.
1961, Willie Mays of the San Francisco Giants hits 4 home runs in a 14-4 victory over the Braves in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 1976, Muhammad Ali wins in a unanimous 15-round decision over Jimmy Young in Landover, Maryland to retain his world heavyweight title. 1985, the NFL Draft, Virginia Tech defensive end Bruce Smith, drafted by the Buffalo Bills. 1987, Mike Bossy of the New York Islanders plays in his final NHL game. 1992, the Red Wings and the Canucks become the 9th and 10th teams in the NHL history to rebound from a 3-1 deficit to win their playoff series. 1993, top-ranked Monica Seles is stabbed during a changeover in Hamburg, Germany. Günter Pache, 38, reaches over the courtside rail and stabs Seles in the back with a knife. She has an inch-deep slit between her shoulder blades, and she misses the remainder of the 1993 tennis season. 2010, Tiger Woods matches the worst 9-hole score of his PGA Tour career and winds up with a 7/79 to miss the cut at Quail Hollow. 2014, Anze Kopitar scores the tie-breaking goal late in the second period, and Jonathan Quick makes 39 saves to cap off the Los Angeles Kings comeback of a 3-0 deficit against the San Jose Sharks in Game 7. Only the 4th time in NHL history that a team came back from 3-0. And this day, 2015, for the first time in 51 years, the NFL Draft returns to Chicago, and Florida State's Jameis Winston is selected first by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well, guys, that's it for today. I had fun talking to you. Paul with me, Caveman Rick. This has been James 5. Thank you guys tuning in, hanging out with us here on the Afternoon Underdogs from the CBC Construction Studio. Have a great Wednesday, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Keep your stick on the ice.
ESPN Northwest Florida Big Bracket Challenge.
Hi, this is Dave Neat from Panama City Beach.